So the girls are born, and one of the real blessings that we got out of the deal was when they were born, all 3 of the girls cried, and that was a huge deal. But within 12 hours, all 3 of them were in the minimal stimulation unit.
Triplets Angela, Michelle, and Valerie were 10 weeks early, rushed to the neonatal intensive care unit. They were small miracles to Eddie and Tina Sauer. The girls would spend 7 weeks in the NICU fighting to live, but the rest of their lives thriving, from ballet to an appreciation of music at an early age. If you meet them, you know it is an unbreakable bond they share, a relationship that runs as deep as their DNA.
Anyone that meets us always compares us and say, oh, well, who's the smarter one? Who's better at this?
Who's your favorite?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. Which one's your favorite sister? I'm like, you don't ask that question.
Yeah, it's not possible. We all love each other.
Little Hank Harris was supposed to share a bond like that. Carolyn Harris suffered what's called vanishing twin syndrome. Though the loss had to be devastating, life never stops. Through pain came the Harris' greatest joy. At just 27 weeks, Hank Philip Harris was born.
This one day, I just had this, it was a God thing, I just had this feeling that something was not right, and they were not monitoring me. And so we called the nurse in. I didn't feel bad, I just had this weird feeling that something was not right. And so this sweet nurse, she's an angel, I remember her name being Michelle, and she came in and said, okay, I will monitor you. So they put the belt on, and his heart rate was dropping into the 40s.
Carolyn underwent emergency C-section surgery. Hank was 1 pound and 9 ounces. Doctors weren't sure if he'd make it through the night, so Carolyn's bed was wheeled in to meet her tiny son. But Hank had plans of his own. 100 days in the NICU, memories like these didn't seem meant to be.
He has a book that he looks through every single night, of pictures of him when he was in the NICU, and we like to remind him every single night that he's a miracle from God. Oh, he wants you all to know that he has the funnest room.
Hank started kindergarten this year. For those children who will attend a first day of school, celebrate another birthday, and experience one more of life's adventures, we could never forget those of you tonight that have experienced the most precious of losses. It is impossible not to. We remember. When Haley Phelan was born, she would share a room with Amberly Perkins. Amberly fought to be a part of this world for 22 days. She is a true ambassador, reminding us while so much has been accomplished to save babies, there is so much left undone. Haley pushed through after starting life at 2.5 pounds.
And then they called him over there, and they put their footprints on their birth certificate, and they stamped them on his shirt, the scrub shirt he was wearing. And then he came back over to my side, and it happened to be that the bed height, that was right at the level that those little footprints were. And I turned my head and saw those, and I lost it, because I thought, her feet were just barely bigger than the size of a quarter. And they brought her over there in the little isolette. They had her already in the little incubator and rolled her over there before they took her to the NICU. And they said, you can touch her, you can, put your hand in there. So I put my hand through the little portal, and she reached out and grabbed a hold of my finger and just looked at me. She was wide awake, and she just looked at me, and it was like she was trying to tell me, it's okay, I'll be all right.
Though there were ups and downs.
I always knew when I walked in, I could see her face, and I knew, well, this is a bad day, and this is a good day, or this, it was just a roller coaster.
The Phelans knew that when they were there, and when they couldn't be by their baby's side, that she was being taken care of.
The day that we walked in, and the nurse that had been taking care of her all day didn't have any makeup on because she'd been crying all day.
Haven Grisham knows that space NICU nurses take up in the hearts of the families with premature babies. Their imprint is forever. Haven spent 8 years as a nurse in the NICU.
They're like second family. Whenever you can't take them to your house as soon as they're born, they're at their house. That's their house, and that's who takes care of them while you're gone.
It is where both Haven and Josh Grisham's children began their lives. Born early because Haven suffered high blood pressure and preeclampsia brought on by the pregnancies.
I went from worrying about the health of the baby to the health of my wife, and then struggling with some of those decisions of how far should we push Haven's body versus giving Will more time.
Sometimes life has a way of working itself out. Will and Adeline are living proof. And Haven, though not a nurse in the NICU now, knows her time in the NICU will never truly leave her.
It was very rewarding, and I have great skills and knowledge to show from that, but I feel I have a different heart from being a nurse there, especially after having these two in the NICU. I think it changes you completely.
The March of Dimes continues to be a path of promise established in 1938 to fight polio. It remains a shining beacon of what can be if we all just believe.